And they were just mortified. They were so terrified of this rabid, maroon crowd. It was just amazing.
Yeah, there's a lot of good history here when it comes to drinking piss.
My father owned pubs in North Queensland, and he played a lot of representative rugby for North Queensland country and that, and he was in the first 3 Foley Shield finals, which is, if you know North Queensland's a pretty big deal. We've always been in pubs and restaurants and motels, accommodation, and football season breathes a whole lot of life into the place. We do it, we're pretty, cover a lot of sports, but league is, Origin. We actually have a heritage award for the 100 years of federation, and that was for the running of the buses when the Origin buses used to come down Caxton Street. We've sort of promoted them, but it got to a point where so many people came into the street that the buses could hardly fit down. The funniest story, if I can tell you one about the buses coming down, is when Tommy Radonicus was coaching New South Wales. He and Steve were pretty good mates, and he rang up Steve and said, when the New South Wales bus comes down, I wanted to get all those mongrel Queenslanders out there and really scream at the bus. And he was going to use it as a G-up for the New South Wales players. Well, the Queensland bus came down, and everyone's cheering, most of the crowd, obviously maroon. And then the next bus that came around the corner had New South Wales number plates, so everyone thought it was the New South Wales team. And as it got down, I said, that's not the players. And it had Grafton bus lines on it. And I think it was in an old age home. There's all these old people in it who were just going to the game, and they were just mortified. They were so terrified of this rabid, maroon crowd. It was just amazing. It was funny now, but I felt sorry for them then. It was such good fun. It was a feature of the day. And then when they came back up, that if Queensland won, it took them 15 minutes. The bus driver just toot the horn, or Alfie, whoever's in there, and they'd stop and get all the accolades. It's great fun. I've spoken to a lot of the other New South Wales players, and a couple of them said, we were too scared to come in here because we just thought we'd get killed, and then they said it was scary, like Benny Elias, he said, a different breed up here, aren't they?
I think when you think about the Caxton, firstly you probably think of Queensland. Obviously the history of rolling down Caxton Street just outside here. I think I was part of the last team actually to do that, because it was Lockie's last year. So it's pretty scary, even though they're our fans. Like, it's a pretty nerve-wracking thing, because there's just smashing on the windows. I could only imagine what it was like back in the day, but it's a cult hero here in Queensland, and I don't mind coming here with a lot of the old boys. Call myself one of the old boys now, so it's enjoyable. It's a great pub. It's got a lot of history. For me, when I was younger, I didn't really realise what it was, what it meant to be to be here at the Caxton and have those functions, because you're just sort of in your prime of your footy. You're just not even realising. And I think the more you got older, and the more I got older, and realised what it's like to come to this place and realise how much rich history it has. There's always been some great functions here, and probably a lot of stories that we can't talk about that have happened in here as well, which is fun as well. And I think that's the cool thing about rugby league. As a group, you're sort of more of a family, and you're real tight. So some of those stories you like to keep to yourself. Me and Alf get along a lot now, and I'm looking out the window because this is sort of where it happened. I think I was only a young fella coming through the ranks, and it's just sort of put me in my place. We were playing bottles. I'm not sure if anyone knows what bottles is, but it's a game. It's a drinking game where you can't say sevens or the multiples of sevens. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4 bottles, and it goes back the other way. Me being a winger, obviously, can only count to 6, so got me pretty much every time. Alf did, and by the end of it, he was just giving me shit about, you'll never live up to be the best as, Lottie or Wendell, and really got under my skin. So just being a young fella, being 18 years old, to just go, well, instead of running your mouth, why don't you come out the front so I can have a go at you? I ended up crying that day. Sam Thaiday consoled me. And from that day on, me and Alf still talk about that. I mean, look, there's a lot of boys that come to mind when I talk about drinking here, and the Pearl, Mick Hancock, are two really guys that I think of, because they're always here. Like, they're here you know, they come, they know, they know the Republican here. They've known him for a very long time. Every time I've been here, the Pearl's been here, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's downstairs. Yeah, when the days are quiet, you know, there's a lot of great footy players, and there's a wall downstairs of I think it's a drunk wall, I'd say it was, because there's not, yeah, the Hall of Fame, yeah. It'd be better than being immortal, actually. If you're on that wall, you're actually doing pretty well. So I've made it on that wall because I've made a dickhead of myself a few times, but yeah, it's a good place to get drunk as well. It's enjoyable.